So back in summer 2017, I took a trip up to North America to visit my friend T, who helped produce our Sounds of Hong Kong and Sounds of Tokyo stories. After my visit to Toronto and New York, I thought, I'm in the area, might as well visit my friend DJ Matthew Law in Philadelphia. Matthew and I met back in 2015. I was still teaching music before MAEKAN, and he was managing Keith Ape's Asia tour. Personally, I heard a lot about Philly's music, underground hip-hop, you know, the home of The Roots, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, and many more legendary DJs. So I thought it was a perfect time to catch up again, like we had always talked about. In the process, we talked about Matthew's DJ career path and also Philadelphia's block party culture. And towards the end of the interview, he actually shared part of a track that he produced recently. Hope you guys enjoy.
My name is Matthew Law. I used to go by DJ Fish. Changed my performing name in 2013, and I am a DJ, producer, somewhat man of vision.
Me and Matthew actually met like 2 years ago back in Hong Kong when Keith Ape was on tour, and it was like really random because I was hosting Eric Lau and Young Guru for a master class.
Yeah,
and we were trying to get into, you know, a dinner that night, and Eric was like, well, you know, there's two people might come through, so is it okay if we put them on? And meanwhile, on the other end, it was pretty random how you got hit up by King Brit. And
oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a time where it's like, oh, you know, you're back in Hong Kong. Maybe you can tell a little bit how we will all kind of join force.
So I was touring as a tour manager and DJ for Keith Ape for his first real like Asia tour. I think it was his first one. So we had to stop in Hong Kong, and King Brit, you know, legendary Philadelphia DJ, producer, curator, he's like an older brother to me. So he hit me up just to see how I was doing. I just happened to be in Hong Kong, and he was like, yo, Eric Lau's out there. You have his number? I was like, no. He was like, yo, I'll link you. So I was like, okay, cool. He links us, and turns out that you brought him out. You brought him and Young Guru out for these master classes. And I was like, I didn't really know what to expect with all of us hanging out, but it just ended up being like such a great chill session. The dinner was amazing, obviously, but the chill session afterwards I think was really important because a young artist like Keith, who is almost in this circle of weird, almost like post-punk, post-hip-hop, international trap, like
internet trap.
Yeah, internet trap, SoundCloud rapper like world. I thought it was really important at the very least. Like, here's Young Guru, like Jay-Z's producer, engineer, Alicia Keys' producer and engineer. It's like, here's some like triple OG status person and people that like you can take a photo with and like there can be some sort of connection. So
even then, I feel like the universe just kind of aligns with everything.
Yeah,
you know, it's like where all the music heads, like, first of all, Hong Kong is pretty rare to have that many, at least like everyone's at the same table. And you know, like later on, Preservation came on too.
Yeah,
you
DJ
know, that's
Preservation.
how I met him. He's like Mos Def's producer, and he also has his own independent label. But yeah, it was just an amazing night. How we all linked up. So that was like 2 years ago. And fast forward, like, you know, I was doing some music writing in Toronto a couple weeks ago. And, you know, I've never been to East Coast America. So when I hit to New York, I have to hit up Matthew in Philly. You know, take like a 3-4 hours ride down here. But yeah, and then, you know, I'm very glad to catch King Brit. You know, had his like EP launch yesterday.
Yeah, well, yeah. So King Brit put out his second Floston Paradigm project. It's The first one was on Hyperdub either last year or 2 years ago. And this most recent one he released independently. And it's just like the most amazing like soundscape. Like somebody should honestly make a movie based around it, because it's just such a, like, there's no drums. It's
all ambient sounds and like programming, and a lot of it seems very busy to me, but at the same time it works. Everything just kind of put into place.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it, but it's just all like all the puzzle pieces are in the right place. Like, you know, Riot and Pia Ercole, great vocalists, as well as like Jacqueline Constance and
Tim Martha, right?
Tim Motzer, amazing guitar player. Like really like one of those people that like if you ever get a chance to see him play, please do. He will make you think that you've never seen a guitar before, because what he does with it is ridiculous.
Just when you thought like, you know, how he plugged in all the pedals in wasn't crazy enough, he pulled the bowls out and just
pulled out the bow and just like started like playing the guitar with like a violin bow. It was ridiculous.
Is there anywhere that we can hear it? Like, is it out yet?
So Floston. Yeah, Floston. It's actually a full-length album. It's like, it's about 12 tracks. Also, shouts out to More Mother. She's also on the project. Another artist who's in the Philly underground for a while and is really blowing up internationally. But yeah, so you can find it everywhere. iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music now, I guess. Yeah, Apple Music, Spotify. I think it's on Bandcamp, just like all over the internet. I'm not sure if he's doing vinyl pressing yet for this, but if there is, you know, I'll be the first to.
Maybe tell a little bit about the relationship between you and King Britt.
Okay, yeah. I met King when I was 19 years old. I was playing at this venue, Silk City. I was DJing an opening set for this artist at the time. Used to go by Two-Face. Now he goes by Mike Taylor. He moved out to LA, is killing it right now. Has a great pop single out right now called Colors. He was on this song with Afrojack called Summer Thing. So he's really like in the pop electronic world, really, really killing it. Great vocalist. So I used to DJ for him when I was younger, and King heard me DJ there and like remembered me from there. I don't remember meeting him that night, but he remembers it. So, but then really, really like talked to each other. I was DJing at the Adidas store on South Street in Philadelphia. He came in to see my friend Ron, and I was still, this is before I got Serato, like, you know, or Scratch Live when it was still Scratch Live. So I was spinning vinyl, and I was working at a record store at that time. So I got all the, like the newest records, got them all first. I would still have to pay for them. So I was just buying the singles. Like I wouldn't necessarily buy the whole album if it was like, you know, a popular hip hop album, if I didn't need the other songs on the record. So you had to like, let me get the singles. So like, I can just have the tools that I need. Because, you know, they came with acapellas and instrumentals, and if you need to rock doubles or anything like that, that you couldn't find on the regular album. So King comes up to me while I'm playing, I think it was I Love My Chick off of Busta Rhymes. I love my chick. I love you, baby. 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 And he was like, yo, do you have, like he comes up to me, and because the album had just come out like that week. And he was like, King comes up to me and is like, do you have I think it was called Get Down. It was a Timbaland produced record off that album.
Hey, yo, to my people on the left. To my people on the right. To my people in the middle. Check it. Shit fresh off the grill, nigga, keeping it hot. Now I just spread all through the hood and back and toe of the block.
He was like, I was like, oh, no, I just have the single. He was like, yo, man, you should check it out. It's crazy. Comes to find out, he finds me on MySpace that night. That's how long ago this was. Finds me on MySpace. Turns out we went to the same high school, just 15, 18 years apart. And especially him, he has this thing, like if you went to Central High School, he's automatically gonna like be cool with you. So that was like the start of us like connecting, and we kind of like saw each other here and there. And eventually he had me play Back to Basics, which was his party at Silk City. That was like this legendary party that so many Philly artists came out of. Red Bull actually did an article about it last year, just like a history of the event and how the neo soul sound before Black Lily and before like the 5 Spot, a lot of that came out of Back to Basics, because a lot of those, it was an event where DJ would play with a live band and they would just go back and forth. So a lot of those live musicians got to play along with some of the newer music that was coming out that, you know, could have some electronic backing or whatever. So that marriage kind of created what the neo soul sound became. And we've been friends ever since. You know, it's just like, it just, you know, continues to grow. There's a lot of parallels, even though we're, you know, a decade and a half apart. There's a lot of parallels in our lives that, like, you know, certain things, if I tell him something weird happened in my life or something like that, he's like, yo, I remember when that happened to me. And it's like,
you can kind of relate with him.
Yeah. Like,
That's awesome.
We're really like family, man.
Yeah, that really stood out to me because when I met you in Hong Kong, when you mentioned that you're with Rich Medina and, like, you know, all the OGs in the game, I was like, oh, how old are you? And I was just like, oh, back then it was like 27, right?
Yeah,
it was like 2 years ago. So I was just like kind of amazed, like, you know, a young DJ like yourself. And you said you've been DJing for like more than 10 years. And you also get into, you know, hang out with all these really legendary DJs and producers.
Yeah.
How did that all came about? And do you feel like responsible?
Yeah. Well, I totally feel responsible, like carrying some sort of torch, whatever that means. Just because, like, it's almost like a gift and a curse when you know, like, where everything comes from, and you have like a first-hand account, or, like, you know, 1 degree of separation from, like, all this Philly music history. I guess the way that it came together, King and I were acquaintances before I joined Ill Vibe Collective, but when I started spending time with DJ Lil Dave, Mr. Sonny James, who went by DJ Static at that time, and, like, the Ill Vibe crew, and they started having me open for them and stuff like that, they had already established, because they're 10 years older than me, so, and had an established relationship with Rich Medina, with King Britt, with Cosmo Baker, and, like, all these people who were, you know, just like a generation before them. So it kind of was like a natural progression when I joined Ill Vibe for me to also, like, this familial situation. It's funny, DJ Ultraviolet, another friend from Philly, she said that I'm the last of the Mohicans. Like, I'm the last person that was kind of let into this circle of legendary Philadelphia DJs and curators that, like, you know, are preserving but also, like, moving forward a Philadelphia sound and what that really means.
So what is actually the Philadelphia music culture, in your opinion?
I mean, historically, it's like Philadelphia soul and, like, you know, even disco. And I would say a lot of that has dissipated. Like, a lot of that has disappeared and made room for a lot of hip hop. Like, it's a very hip hop city. Most recently, I mean, like, the biggest hip hop artists to come out of here were like Meek Mill and Lil Uzi Vert. And a lot of people don't even know that, like, Uzi's from Philly because he, like, seems like such a, like, an Atlanta artist. And I guess a lot of that comes from Don Cannon and DJ Drama, who are both originally from Philly but moved to Atlanta and, like, made names for themselves down there. Musically, I feel like we're really, like, at the climax of being a very hip-hop city. It's kind of like Chicago in a way where it's a melting pot, but it's also still, like, a very black city. Like, there's a huge African-American population, a huge Latino population in Philadelphia.
Right.
So the music is going to reflect that. As far as DJing is concerned, just to, like, compress what I would say a Philly DJ style is block party style. Like, summertime in Philly, there's, like, it's almost hard to drive around certain neighborhoods because it's just cut off, because everybody's, like, you know, they got an okay from the city or didn't to, like, shut down the block and throw a party for the neighborhood. But in those situations, you know, a DJ is supposed to be able to please everybody from 3 to 30 to, you know, 60 years old, you know? So all the music kind of melds together, but it also gives you a really, really almost clear timeline of predominantly black party music over the years. Like, you know, everything from Frankie Beverly and Maze Before I Let Go to, like, the newest 2 Chainz record. It's like, you know that it all comes from this community and expands out into the world. Yeah, I would say, like, Philly style is like a block party style. If you ever hear Jazzy Jeff play anywhere, you know, you're hearing him play the newest Jay-Z record with, like, Toto, Africa, and, like, other 80s, like, it's like everything's there, you know?
Yeah, it goes everywhere, but at the same time, kind of put pieces together.
Yeah, and the way it pieces together, you really get an understanding that a Philly DJ has done their homework, and it's kind of from going to these block parties, you kind of internalize this understanding that music isn't just like the top 10 records that are out right now. Like there's a wider music history, and there's a community of people that will enjoy that wider music history.
Especially in Philadelphia, I feel like all the DJs that I've looked up to and, you know, followed, they're really serious about the craft. I feel like try to go along with the trend, but they kind of use it as their tool to kind of merge with their own style. And, you know, coming from a background with like DJing more than 10 years, do you think you figure that out, like how to, you know, present your style with the new trends and new sounds, and how are you still keep doing that for 10 years and still keeping it fresh?
Yeah, I think like there might be DJs who like go backwards from what's current now to like maybe eventually they'll start like looking at like older songs and maybe put them into their sets. For me, I started DJing for B-boys. So like I instantly was trying to just find older music, and eventually that, you know, I was finding that older music when I was 15, 16 years old. So at 15, 16 years old, when like, you know, this is the early to mid 2000s. So radio, I'm still listening to the radio. So it's a combination of like going and digging for those records, but also I guess the natural effect was this kind of like timeless subconscious. It's like my subconscious is kind of like understands music not so much in
the surface level.
Yeah, it goes really deep. It's not that deep, and it's to me like it's not like a deep rooted like this is how I feel. It's just like it just bore a hole into my brain that all music history is connected. In really like interesting ways, whether it's regional, whether it's, you know, by the time period, whether it's just like by tempo, you can make it all fit in, and you can tell a story with it, I guess.
And especially hip hop, like, you know, everything starts from sampling, and you know, you go back to where they originally sampled from.
Of course. And like that's it. It's so funny when there's situations where like somebody will hear the original sample. You have like, there's two sides of the spectrum. There's the people that come into the party and they come with their expectations, and if you don't meet their exact expectations, they get turned off. And there's other people that come with an open mind and will be open to like, if you're playing the sample to like recently I've been playing like the sample for Family Feud off of Jay-Z's 444, right? So I'll play the sample and I'll see like half the room or like a quarter of the room get really, really confused. When I know in my heart. And then when the people who I know like come out to see me and know like what I do, when I play the sample, they'll get more excited. Because it makes them appreciate the music even more, because they know that it comes from somewhere else. And you put them on to something that they normally would not experience, because they just get exactly what the record is, and that's it.
Do you host any parties?
Yeah, Friends and Fam is like the focus, and has been the focus for like the last three and a half years. So I haven't had a weekly party in like 6 years, but a couple months ago I started a weekly in Philadelphia called Thursdays for Love. Just like a small venue called The Saint in Philadelphia, and that's going really well. It's just like kind of like a testing ground, and it keeps me DJing every week in a controlled environment where I can try out a lot of new things. Get my mic skills up. I'm not really that crazy on the mic, but like,
you were Keith Abe's hype man, so
well, that's a different thing. I think it's being on the road with Keith is like a little bit different, because he's the focus. So if like I'm screaming, nobody really cares. Like it's just like they just think it's part of the track most of the time. If I get them hyped up, it's like, you know, it's cool. But like during like a DJ set, it's one thing if you're like playing, you know, like Ijima.
Squad shit. Ijima. On the water squat. Your dirty moment count.
And it's like everybody's like, oh man, this is my song. Like everybody's going crazy. Or if I'm like trying to hype people up over a Mary J. Blige record, like it's just not. This is not the same type of energy. Both great music, but just like not the same type of energy at all.
Especially the Asian rap nowadays. It's just riding on that wave.
Blowing up, man. Blowing up. It's really, really dope.
Yeah, you need to come back out to Asia.
Man, that visa's just sitting there. I need to get back.
Word.
Yep.
ask, like, what do you see yourself in 5 years' time, even more?
I mean, I'm definitely getting into more production. I think with the market opening up a lot to more, I guess, equality, what's come out of that is an appreciation, I think, for like real dance music. Like not just EDM, like, here's the drop. I mean, the original like house music, disco music community was really about equality and freedom. And I think, for a while people associated that with just the gay community. But I think now the message is really breaking through where it's really about freedom and equality, whether you're gay, straight, trans, LGBTQIA. People are discovering more and more ways to live their lives. So it's like they're just like, creating whatever category they need to feel comfortable, which is great because it's going to continue for, help them continue in their lives and, promote more equality and freedom, which is the community that I want to, be part of. Like, you want to be part of it. It's because, equality and freedom is like, it's almost like the hallmarks of forward movement. And I feel like dance music, to an extent, is like the soundtrack to that. And the more melodic and heartfelt and soulful it is in the mainstream, the better. Like, it's just,
Awesome, man.
So, production-wise, definitely moving in that direction. Just want to, continue having a happy life. That's all.
Your production, I think the most recent one is that you did something with Seven David Jr.
Yeah, that's on the way. That's gonna come out in the fall. We're just looking to see what label we want to shop it to, if we want to go independent, whatever. But yeah, that EP's almost done.
Awesome.
So that should be really good. And me and Seven are working on more music together as well. Like that's a great dude.
Yeah.
That's a really great guy.
Yeah, maybe
so
we'll
talented.
do another story on him because he has a very unique way of making music. Yeah, and he seems like a very mysterious guy to me.
That too.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a great dude.
So maybe this is a good time to wrap it up. Is there anything that you want to plug?
Instagram is Matthew Law Official, at Matthew Law Official. It's 2 T's in Matthew. I couldn't get the same one for Twitter, so that's at Matt Law Ill Vibe. And
you're trying to get verified soon, right?
Yeah, working on that verification. Let me get that blue check. But yeah, so there's that, and you can just check out the website. So it's matthewlaw.me, MATTHEWLAW.me.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Yeah, man.
And look forward to your new music coming out. And all the best to all like the DJ career in the future.
Thanks, bro. Thank you.
My heart makes the absence fonder. Rays sunshine while I ponder. A long time way out yonder. Out to spaces where I call her. My heart makes the absence fonder. Rays sunshine while I ponder. A long time way out yonder. Out to spaces where I call her. Out to spaces where I call her.
If you'd like to hear more stories like this one, and more from the world of creative culture and beyond, check them out at MAEKAN.com. That's MAEKAN.com. Or search for us on your favorite podcast app.